Hello, everybody. It is Sunday, March 22nd, 2026. Welcome to episode 120 of the Old Mage MTG podcast with your hosts, Old Mage Steve and Old Mage Alex.
Yo.
Thank you so much for joining us. Today, we have a casual episode for you. We're just going to be chatting about some recent playtesting we've been doing and some brewing. But first, I'm going to ask you to please subscribe to our channel on YouTube or on your favorite podcast app. You can find our video on YouTube and Spotify. All other podcast apps have audio only. You can also follow us on social medias, Blue Sky, Twitter, Instagram, and Threads. We got them all. You can find us on social media at OldMageMTG. And if you watch the show on YouTube, you can also become an official channel member for the low price of $1.99. If you become a member, you get to use little wizard emojis in the comment section. In addition to that, we've started a new project recently. I don't know if it's a project. A new offering recently where Alex curates a poem just for you and reads it at the end of the episode after you become a channel member. A big thank you to the 3 new channel members since last episode. 3 new channel members. That's our biggest week ever by far. Stonerainguy, danehellwig, and Ruth Muse. Shout out to new channel members. $1.99. That's quite the deal. That is cheaper than the current market price of Serenity from Weatherlight, Alex.
Ooh,
Did you know that?
that's a good buy.
Serenity from Weatherlight is $2.60 current market price. You might say, Steve, my play group is full of all sorts of powerful enchantments and artifacts. I need to get rid of those. I need to pick up my Serenities. Well, I got good news for you and for the old mages. You can buy your copies of Serenity and support the podcast at the same time by clicking our TCG affiliate link that you can find in the description below. Serenities show up at your home and we get a small percentage. We're going to get into the meat of the show now. We're going to talk about some playtesting that I've been doing and some brews Alex has been working on. In part 1, I'm going to talk about my recent experience with red-green goblins. I brought red-green goblins to a recent Retromancers casual meetup. I just wanted to try it out against some other decks. I think this might be the next deck that I focus on for when I want like a competitive deck, a tier 1 or a tier 2 deck to play, to bring to monthlies, bring to tournaments. I think Red Green Goblins is going to be my thing. I think I'm going to set White Weenie aside for a little while. This is my current list. I have it on Moxfield. You can also follow us on Moxfield at Old Men Magic, OldMenMagic. I need to change this to Old Mage MTG at some point. But my Goblins list, my Red Green Goblins list is pretty standard. This is not a unique brew. It's full of creatures, 34 creatures. It's pretty much the same creature package you see in everybody's Red Green Goblins list, except I'm not running Skirk Prospector. That seems to be the big difference. Some people run the Prospector, some people don't. So I have 4 Gem Palm Incinerators. I'm going 1 Goblin King main board. That's something that I might change, but right now I hate Engineered Plague so much that I feel like I just want to run the King main board. I think it can also be really good in the mirror match too, because you just drop it and then all your goblins have Mountain Walk and you just swing for lethal. So 1 King, 4 Goblin Lackeys, 4 Matrons, 4 Pile Drivers, 4 Ringleaders, 1 Sharpshooter, 1 Tinkerer, another card that you don't always see in the main board, but I like main boarding some artifact destruction. 4 War Chiefs, 4 Mog Fanatics, 3 CGN Commanders, and then the reason people put green into Red Green Goblins is because it allows you to run Naturalize too. So I have 2 Naturalizes in here. And then 1 Forest, 4 Carplusian Forests, 9 Mountains, 4 Rishodon Ports, 2 Wastelands, 4 Wooded Foothills. Sideboard's still something I'm working on. Not really sure about the sideboard. So I brought it to the recent meetup. I got to play 3 different people on 3 different lists. First game, First match I played against somebody on Black-White Control, which is a deck that I faced a lot, Alex. I keep running into Black-White Control. I don't know if it's
I've
more
been meaning to
popular.
ask you about that, about like what exactly is in the black white control you've seen.
What's in it? Uh, I don't know. I guess I wouldn't know what the stock list is exactly. Always Wrath of Gods uh, in white. So that's a major control element there. Wrath, Swords to Plowshares, Disenchant. Black, they usually run some sort of a discard. So like Cabal Therapy or Duress.
Mhm. Are they running Gerard's verdict?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And what about Terminate?
I see Gerard's Verdict a lot. Terminate is so Vindicate. Terminate's red black.
Oh yeah, yeah. Sorry, yeah,
Vindicate, there's usually some number of
yeah.
Vindicate.
Okay.
And then the creature package tends to be Exalted Angel, Exalted Angel, Eternal Dragon,
Okay.
and then Decree of Justice.
Okay.
That seems to be like the creature package. So think uh, Wrath for mass removal, Swords disenchant for targeted removal, Black for discard, and then Exalted Angel, Decree of Justice, Eternal Dragon. I'm
Yeah.
not a
Okay.
black-white control expert. I've never actually built the deck, but I feel like that's what I see most of the time when I'm facing it. So game one went smooth. Goblins is just so fast that I was able to run him over. He didn't
Yeah.
draw enough mass removal. He didn't pull the Wrath. There was nothing really that he could do to my Goblin Horde. He did get an Exalted Angel out, and that did some damage. It gained him some life, but you can deal so much damage with goblins that sometimes the life gain from the Exalted Angel doesn't matter. And I was eventually able to remove it with an incinerator. You get up to 5 goblins on the board, just incinerate it. So that game went pretty quick. Game two was harder. And that's how I was thinking it would be post sideboard. Black White Control is gonna have a lot of things they can bring in from the sideboard that a creature deck like goblins is not gonna like. So in second game, he played 2 or 3 wraths. So I was trying not to overextend. He played 2 or 3 wraths, kept blowing up my goblins. But in addition to that, I faced Engineered Plague. So that's a major tool that Black White Control brings in from the sideboard, especially Engineered Plague. Engineered Plague against goblins is bad for the goblins player, of course. But then I also got hit with a couple other cards that he brought in from the sideboard that I wasn't expecting. He infested a couple times. I don't know if you've seen this card yet or played this card yet, Alex, in the
I'm
in
trying to
the
remember.
any of the black decks you've put together. It's an uncommon from Onslaught.
Yeah. Okay.
1 colorless, 2 black, sorcery. All creatures get -2/-2 until end of turn. So that can deal with most of the goblins that Engineered Plague can't get rid of. You have quite a few actually, 2 toughness goblins in the deck. So Engineered Plague doesn't blow those off the board. But then you cast the Infest. That clears out the 2/2s. So I had to face Infest. And then I also had to face Decree of Pain. He hit me with a Decree of Pain. So the game was quite a slog. I was purposely not overextended my board so I could survive through some of these board wipe spells he had. But they just kept coming. I mean, by the time I saw the second or third Wrath, I was like, he can't have that much more. But then the Infest started coming, and then the Degree of Pain kept coming. MTG stocks is going really slow, so I'm gonna try to pull up. I'm gonna try to pull up another site, see if it's just my computer or if it's MTG stocks. What did I say? Decree of Pain. Nobody's ever played a Decree of Pain against me, Alex. I've been decreed before, but I couldn't remember exactly what this one did. I had to read it. Let's pull up the old printing.
Okay.
It's from Scourge. 6 colors, 2 black, sorcery, destroy all creatures. They can't be regenerated. Draw a card for each creature destroyed this way. But you could also cycle it for 3 colorless and 2 black. When you cycle Decree of Pain, all creatures get -2 until end of turn, which is how he used it against me. And that was enough to kill my 2 toughness goblins.
Okay.
It's kind of, is this a goblin in the art? I can't tell. I think there might be goblins in the art. So Wrath of God, Infest, Engineered Plague, now Decree of Pain, and then he also hit me with a Warmth and a COP red, Alex. So how am I supposed to win that game? It's almost impossible.
Yeah, that's a lot.
And I didn't. The game went long. My graveyard just kept extending. And really it was over when the COP red finally came out, but I wanted to play it out because I was just trying to see if I could maybe get so many goblins on the board that I would just eventually be able to do some kind of damage, but it just wasn't happening. I was eventually finished by Decree of Justice. So he just kept bringing out this mass removal, and then he Decree of Justice me and just came through with a bunch of 1/1 soldiers. That was it.
Okay.
So my sideboard, I hadn't really decided on my sideboard yet, but I did have Anarchy in the sideboard. And it was the first time I sat down and played this deck against somebody other than you. And I was thinking to myself, I'm not really sure how to sideboard for this match. I don't know why I didn't bring the Anarchy in. I was thinking about Engineered Plague, but for some reason I wasn't thinking about COP Red,
Oh,
which he definitely had in the sideboard and he definitely brought in against me. And I was also thinking, even if I wasn't worried about COP Red, I mean, I could use Anarchy to blow up his Exalted Angels, which he definitely had in his deck, blow up an Eternal Dragon, although you can bring that back. But it would at least get rid of Exalted Angels. And if he decreed, which I assume there was Decree of Justice in his deck, this clears out the Angels or Soldier tokens, whichever he decides to generate with the
mhm.
decree. So that was a mistake on my part, not bringing in the Anarchy. I did not make that mistake for game 3. I brought in my Anarchy.
Oh, okay.
So game 3, I again saw Engineered Plague. I again saw Warmth. I again saw COP Red. But in game 3, I drew both Tranquil Domain, which I only have one of in the sideboard at the moment. I think this definitely needs to be more than one in the sideboard. So Tranquil Domain is an instant, which I always forget. 1 colorless, 1 green, destroy all global enchantments. So that cleared away an Engineer Plague and one other enchantment, maybe Warmth at the time. And then the COP Red came out. I drew Anarchy. Anarchy cleared out the COP Red, and I was able to swing through for lethal. So
Okay.
even though I feel like Black-White Control has a really good game against goblins post-sideboard, I do have some tools to deal with the hate that they bring in. Anarchy, it's 4 mana, but I feel like it comes in handy a lot. And I'm wondering,
I mean, it can be devastating, and
can be
you
devastating.
can get a lot of bang for your buck out of that.
I play a lot of white, so I think maybe I think about the white spells I have to worry about more often because of that. They're the front of my mind a lot of the times. I was listening to somebody talk about goblins and premodern the other day, and they were like, one anarchy is the right number of anarchy in the sideboard. But I can just think of so many times where I feel like I want to have two. I want to have two. I want to have a higher odds of drawing it. Games 2 and games 3. There's just
Yeah,
so many things. There's warmth, there's COP red, and then there's a lot of offensive tools in white that some decks run, like Exalted Angel, for instance.
yeah.
Decree of Justice, for instance.
Uh-huh.
A lot of control decks, Decree of Justice and Exalted Angel. That's their win cons.
Yeah, Big Angel for a win con is in a lot of decks. Yeah,
Uh,
I was gonna ask if you have other white hate in your sideboard. Is that the only
no,
strictly white hate?
that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know, two seems fine.
Two seems fine to me too. That's what I'm going with right now.
If you play a white deck and you want that card, I could see, yeah, you would want to put two in.
I'll also say Uh, Game two, when I forgot to bring in the Anarchy, I did bring in my goons. I have two Goblin Goons in my sideboard.
Okay.
This is a card that I like very much, and not everybody plays it. This might be in my sideboard because of my biases. I'm biased towards large creatures. I see a high power toughness stats, and I want to put those cards in. I'm a creature based player. Goblin
You say
Goons,
that a lot, but I feel like when I play you, like the decks I see you play, like you're not doing that a lot.
when? When?
Well, I don't think you, I don't like,
I didn't used to be back in my younger days. I was a counterspell, Swords to
yeah.
Plowshare, Disrupting
I
Scepter
mean, I
guy.
think you're very efficient about what you put in your deck and you don't go chasing big creatures, is all I'm trying to say. Like, I think you're,
Oh,
you know,
okay.
you play very, like, you cut the fat a lot, like, from your decks. Um,
I don't go for the biggest creatures, but you say efficiency. Three colorless, one red for a 6/6 is pretty efficient.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Also,
And I
it looks
like
like it
this for
has
goblins because it's the downside is pretty minimal.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Uh, so Goblin Goon is three colorless, one red, 6/6. The Goon can't attack unless you control more creatures than defending player. The Goon can't block unless you control more creatures than attacking player. Like you said, that's a downside that Goblins is pretty good at dealing with. I also like
Yeah.
that the art reminds me of Ren and Stimpy.
I was gonna say that those little things look like little
Yeah,
wrens
they do.
like running away.
They do.
That's
It's
funny that you
very
brought
Ren and Stimpy-esque. I don't know Greg Staples. He's definitely not the guy who did Ren and Stimpy. I don't know who did Ren and Stimpy.
that
Who
up.
did Ren and Stimpy? Do you have any idea, Alex?
I don't know the artist's names, I'm sorry. Another good thing about this is like if you're gonna pull this in as like fuel or fodder or something, like in a fling deck, 4 mana to bring this out before you fling it is, that's efficient.
Yeah,
Other decks where you might sacrifice a creature for its,
that's true.
for its stats.
So I bring this card up because, like I said, this came in for game two. It stayed in game three. And I really like this because Goblin Goons, they don't give an F about Engineer Plague Allies. They don't give a shit about -1,
Sure.
-1. In addition to that, they didn't give a shit about -2, from Infest and from Decree of Pain, which is something I
Yeah.
really needed in this matchup. -2 has devastated me lately. It embarrassed me at the feature table at the Buckeye Brawl. I expect -1, -1. I always expect -2, -2. Now I'm thinking a lot about -2. I got -2, on the brain. I'm like, how do I beat -2, -2? The goons. Now, if you have the goon out and then they -2, -2, and then you don't have any goblins. So then the goons don't attack or block.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you could probably get another goblin out at some point. Probably. So this might be recency bias because I will say Goblin Goon won me game three. That's what I swung. I had two goons on the board. What was he going to do? Nothing. I swung for lethal with the goons. So this might be recency bias, but I also want to put Mog Flunkies in the sideboard.
Oh, okay.
I don't have any.
Similar, right? Like
It's
it has a
a three
restriction
three.
on, sorry.
What were you saying?
I was just gonna say it has like a restriction on when it can attack, right?
Something along those lines. It is a 3/3, and its downside is similar to the goons. I'm pulling it up from Stronghold. It's only one colorless, one red, 3/3. It cannot attack or block during a turn in which no other creatures you control attacks or
Okay.
block.
So it needs a buddy.
It needs a buddy to actually not just to
Yeah.
be there, but to actually do the same thing it's doing.
Yeah. I think I looked at this recently. I'm looking for cheap creatures with high power to sacrifice,
Hmm.
like to Altar of Dementia.
But I think about Engineer Plague, which is why the goons came in. I thought about Pyroclasm. Pyroclasm's terrible against goblins. It wipes off the board. If you know you're playing a Pyroclasm deck or even an Earthquake deck, maybe you bring out a lot of 1/1 goblins, not the Lackey, of course, but other 1/1 goblins or 2/2 goblins. Put in the flunkies and the goons. Just get beefy. Beef it up. Now I not only have to worry about Engineer Plague and Pyroclasm, I know that I have to worry about Hailstorm. I know I have to worry about Infect. I think this is the first time I've ever been infected, Alex.
Mm.
So I don't know. I've been thinking about putting more beef in the sideboard. The problem is, what do I take out of the sideboard? I don't want to take out the Pyroblast and the Red Elemental Blasts. I'll have to decide if I want to take out the overloads or not. I think maybe 2 Tinkerers in the sideboard is enough, or too
You
much.
you already have one main deck?
I have one main deck.
Okay.
So I think, Tinkerers, Dreadnought, right? I want them for Dreadnought. If I already have one in the main board, plus 2 naturalizes, plus in my sideboard I have 2 overloads, 2 Pyroblasts, 2 Red Elemental Blasts for the Dreadnought matchup, I probably don't need 2 Tinkerers.
Hmm.
Tinkerers are also not ideal for that matchup because they're slow. You have to tap them to destroy the artifact. So unless you have a War Chief out
Yeah.
and it's hasty, it's sometimes just too slow. I think a lot about the Dreadnought matchup too, but I never end up facing anybody who plays Dreadnought. I never end up on the other side of the table with somebody who's piloting Dreadnought.
Oh, you will.
So that was round one. Black white control went pretty well. I wasn't sure how goblins matched up against black white control, so I was looking at the duress crew data at data.duresscrew.com, where they tell you the win-loss percentages for different meta decks against other different meta decks.
Uh-huh.
Goblins versus black white control. I know black white control's on here somewhere. Right here. Goblins versus black white control, it tells me 66.7%. So I was supposed to win that matchup. This is also a casual meetup. I think a lot of different people are just testing out different decks. You
Hmm.
know, they don't have their list finalized yet. So I guess that's a matchup that should be easy for me. Which, until I've seen this data, I don't know that I would have expected that because of all the hate that black white control has. When I think a tribal deck like goblins, uh, facing potentially 4 engineered plagues on the other side,
Hmm.
plus cop red, plus warmth, plus a bunch of other stuff. Seems like a hard matchup, but I guess when you fill your deck with that much mass removal and that much hate, it can take a while for you to actually draw your win con.
Yeah, you're playing like kind of from behind, like playing
Yeah.
reactively. Um, and it has different types of removal. So it's like, it's good that it has that diversity, but it's also like, it's a little bit split in what it can do. It definitely can't just handle you with like targeted removal. You know what I mean? It needs board wipes because
Yes.
otherwise you overwhelm it. So, and the board wipes aren't enough because they don't have enough of them. So they have to have board wipes and targeted removal. I don't know. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at this data and I'm thinking, uh, goblins at 66.7% win percentage against black white control. This is exactly the type of matchup that made me want to switch from white weenie to goblins as much as I like the white weenie deck. When you face decks like this that just keep hitting you with these board wipe spells, white weenie, the rebuild is so slow
Mm.
that the control deck can go a while without pulling a win con. It could take them a while to pull their angel or their dragon or their decree. And they can still eventually beat you before you're able to build up your board enough to deal lethal with them. Because there's no card draw or no card advantage at all in the white weenie deck. The goblins deck, you have 4 ringleaders, and with the 4 ringleaders, you're not as fragile to board wipes because you can replenish your hand with goblins with the ringleader. If you get a ringleader cast, sometimes that gives you. I had a lot of good ringleader casts, getting 3 goblins consistently with my ringleader, so I was lucky there.
Yeah,
But
it
you can
seems like
rebuild
it
your board.
rebuilds faster than White Weenie to
You can
me.
rebuild your board. And White Weenie is in this duress crew data too. If you look at White Weenie's matchup versus Black White Control, 37.5%.
Oh, wow, okay.
It's not a good matchup. That's been my experience. Black White Control was harder for me with White Weenie. I had cards in my sideboard specifically for the White Weenie matchup. My hope was to just get like 2 to 3 creatures on the board, have some of them stick, and then just Armageddon as fast as I could.
Uh-huh.
And then sometimes that would get me there. Sometimes it would still almost get me there, and then they'd still rebuild and eventually smash me. But it was a hard matchup. Goblins matchup. I'm glad to see that it'll be a little bit easier. And I think it's probably because of just the speed of the deck combined with the fact that it can rebuild faster with the ringleader. We'll see. Anyways, round two, Alex. I faced survival goblins. This was red-green goblins, but with survival. And it was a deck that he was just testing out, I think. Uh, Not something that he played very often. Just wanted to see how it worked. Basically, red green go I don't know his exact list, but it was basically red green goblins with survival of the fittest and anger. I'm not really sure what he took out to fit survival and anger in. So game one was just it was a lot like I guess a goblin mirror match would go. We had dueling lackeys on the board. So I went first. My turn one was lackey, and then his turn one was lackey, and then my turn two was Mog Fanatic, kill his lackey, swing with lackey, and then I just ran him over. So it was just good draw for me in the Goblins mirror. Game two, I lost. His turn one was lackey. My turn one was mountain pass. His turn two was swing with lackey and then run me over. So that's kind of how that game went. The first two games, it was like whoever got off with the lackey. And then game three, I won. I don't remember much about that. There was really nothing special that happened. It was just I was able to put more goblins on the board, which I think that's probably what makes just the standard red green goblins deck stronger than the survival goblins deck. I'm not really sure. I don't have experience playing the survival goblins deck, and this is my only time playing against it. But you're going to have to get rid of some goblins to put in survival and anger. You're decreasing your goblin synergy. This is the thing. Every time I play the goblins deck, I think of other cards I would like to put in it, but then you're not just swapping. It's not necessarily a one for one swap. You got to
Yeah.
think, okay, I'm swapping out this goblin, but then I'm also, every time I take out a goblin, I'm losing some of my goblin's energy. My gem palm incinerators work a little less well. That's one less
Yeah.
thing I can tutor for with my matron. My ringleader, that's one less card that it can put into my hand.
Mhm.
And that's one less +2/+0 buff my pile driver can get. That's one less card I can fling with my Siege Gate commander. There's so much synergy here. I'm always worried about taking out goblins. And to build the survival goblins deck, you have to take out some goblins. Some thoughts after playing this match. Should I always mulligan for either Lackey or Mog Fanatic to kill a Lackey? Or to kill whatever 1/1 they put down? If it's a white deck, a Mother of Runes or something. I don't want to do that. I don't like mulliganing that much. But like the games one and two, especially in the mirror match, maybe that's what I should always do. When if I'm playing a Goblins mirror match, do I always mulligan until I have a Lackey or a Mog Fanatic in my hand? That's how the first two games went. It's just whoever hit with the Lackey won. I know Lackey's good. That's a thought. I also talked to him a little bit about the survival variant, what it offers. It sounds to me like the biggest advantage of the survival goblins is having the ability to put anger in your graveyard. So when anger's in your graveyard, everything gains haste.
Yeah.
But that's probably, at least in my mind, it's probably not a big enough advantage to warrant taking goblins out of the goblin deck and losing all of that goblin's energy. And I'll say that because, survival allows you to tutor for things, but you already have a tutor package in goblins. You have Goblin Matron.
Yeah.
So you can find specific goblins that do different things, that buff your creatures or that function as creature removal, in the case of the incinerator, or that can deal direct damage like the Siege Gang Commander, or they can destroy artifacts like the Tinkerer. There's a lot of different toolbox
Yeah.
goblins.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure I'm feeling it either. And like to get it to work with anger, you need one each of four card, two 4 card blocks in your deck. If you get the anger before the survival of the fittest, then it's just kind
Yeah.
of like clogging up your hand, right?
Yeah, it's clunky. It's clunky there.
Um, And like you said, if you get the survival of the fittest without the anger, you can already kind of do that like with the goblins deck anyways.
Yeah, the Goblins deck has a tutor package with the it has a tutor ability with the matron. It also has a goblin that gives every goblin haste in the war chief. So yeah, you don't have anger in the yard, but if you get a war chief to stick, all your goblins have haste. And without that, some of your other goblins just have haste, like the ringleader. But I don't know. I know that deck exists. I've seen some other people play with it. This guy, I know he's brought elves to some monthlies before. So I think he's an experienced elf player. Oh, the other thing he had in the deck was he had a Gaia's Cradle, right? And there was a
Oh, okay.
game where like I killed his only creatures he had on the board. So then, you have a cradle that's not generating any mana. So it's a card that can be great, but also can have a downside. But anyways, what I was saying is this guy's I know he's been an elves player before. He's brought elves to some of the monthlies. I've never faced him. But I'm guessing he probably played survival elves at some point. I know that's one of the stronger elf deck variants. And
Oh,
that's a
okay.
thing that the elves deck does too.
Oh,
Use survivals, activate survival to put anger in the yard. And then you have a whole bunch of hasty elves coming at you.
uh-huh.
But with elves, unlike goblins, you don't have another way to make all your elves hasty like that. Unless I'm forgetting something. I'm not an experienced elves player. But goblins, you do. You have the war chief. So I don't know. I think I like standard red green goblins better than survival goblins. That just might be cope because I don't have any survivals. If I had survivals, I'd probably put them into everything. I'd be like survival everything. Survival black white control. I'm going to survival for my eternal dragon. And then I'm going to plane cycle my eternal dragon. That was round three or round two. Round three, I faced green white madness. I went 1-2. I lost this round. I was playing against somebody who was working on Green White Madness, working on his Green White Madness game because I think it's something he's probably going to bring to the next monthly. So he's trying to get better at this deck. This is not his list. I'm not sure what his list is. This is my current Green White Madness list. It's a bit different than the list that I think I was facing. I do not think he ran any Anurid Brush Hoppers. I have put 2 Anurid Brush Hoppers in mine. I'm not sure if they will stay. I did not see a Reverent Mantra in my opponent's when I played my opponent. I have 1 Reverent Mantra in my deck. I'm not sure if it will stay. But game 1 against Green White Madness, don't remember all the details, but I do remember that very early on he got 2 Root Walls on the board. It might have been game 1, round 1 and 2. He might have also like had a tribe on the board and maybe pitched the Root Walls and paid them for his Madness cost. I don't remember, but he got them on the board really quick. And then I matroned for something. And I decided to matron for a War Chief because I was staring at these Root Wallas and I know he had land out. And I was like, uh, I need something in my head. I needed something that could deal at least 3 damage because I knew it could pump his Root Walls. So I was thinking incinerators. Okay. Well, for the incinerators to be able to blow out a pumped root wall, I need to have more creatures on the board. I need to have at least 3 other goblins on the board. And War Chief will help me play out other goblins faster. This was my thought because it makes your goblins cost 1 less colorless. So I matroned for a War Chief. I had an incinerator in my hand. I wanted to get more creatures onto the board that I can incinerate a pumped root walla or an arrogant worm, which is 4/4 because I knew he had arrogant worms in the deck, or even a pumped mongrel. We were a couple rounds in, so he didn't have a full hand, but he had, 3 cards in his hand. Maybe I could get 5 goblins on the board. And I'd be able to kill a pumped mongrel that he was pitching 3 cards to. So that was my thought. War Chief will help me put more goblins on the board. And I wasn't worried about overextending because I didn't expect the Green White Madness deck to run any mass removal because they also want to, flood the battlefield with creatures and start swinging. But I lost that game. I lost that game trying to remove his threats one by one with incinerators, trying to get more goblins on the board, throw incinerators at them, blow up the creatures one by one. I think I even matroned for like a second incinerator later. I was able to pick some things off, but not everything. Uh, he eventually built his board up faster than me and finished me by dropping a glory in the graveyard, making everything pro red, and then just swinging for lethal. So that's how the game ended. And I'm talking about the incinerators and trying to use a war chief to bring out more goblins to power my incinerators because when the game ended, he looked at me and he said he was worried that I was gonna tutor for a sharpshooter when I cast that first matron. But he wasn't sure if I had any in the main deck, so maybe I didn't have any in the main deck. And I looked at him and I was like, I actually do. And you saying that makes me think that I made the exact wrong decision because I was staring at the sharpshooter and I was like, he could pump his root wall off. I got to go for an incinerator. But the incinerator is not going to be big enough to kill a pump root wall, I guess. So let me go for a war chief and I'll just bring up more goblins and then eventually I'll incinerate his big creatures. Well, that took too long. He ran me over before I was able to do all that. Uh, I was thinking about it later, and I was like, the sharpshooter does. It probably would have been the best decision because we're both playing aggressive decks. They want to get creatures on the board, swing sideways, do it fast, right? If I would have been able to put a sharpshooter on the board, he would have had to hold back mana to pump his root wallas, or else he would have lost his root wallas to the sharpshooter.
Yeah.
And if he wouldn't have been able to pump either one of them, I would have nailed both of them because the first one would have went to the graveyard, sharpshooter went untapped. I would have nailed the next one.
Oh yeah.
I think that was a big tempo mistake probably because just forcing him to hold the mana up to protect the root wallas might have slowed him down enough for me to build my board faster than him. I'm not sure how the game would have worked out, but it does seem now thinking about it and after he made that comment, seems like tutoring for the sharpshooter would have been the smarter decision as a good tempo play. How do you feel about that, Alex?
I almost brought up sharpshooter earlier in your story when you were talking about it, like as an alternative thing to do. And then you mentioned that you had the incinerator in your hand already. I was like, oh, well, he already has it in his hand. So
I had it in my hand.
yeah. But yeah, I like sharpshooter. When it's been played against me, I feel like it's very strong.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like to see it on the board across from me.
That's the other thing is if I would have had the sharpshooter on the board, that would have been one more goblin that would have made my incinerator a little bit stronger too. So even if I didn't have like it would have strengthened the incinerator in my hand also. Like let's
Mhm.
say I just get three goblins out. So I have an incinerator that can deal 3 damage. If I also have a sharpshooter on the board, I could do that last damage with the sharpshooter to kill a 4/4.
Yeah.
I should have just gone for the sharpshooter. Probably should have gone for the sharpshooter. Anywho, game two. We went on to game two. Game two, I don't have any cursed scrolls in my deck, in my green white madness deck. Game two, I found out that he did. I don't know if they were main board or if he brought them in from the sideboard against goblins because so many of my goblins have 2 toughness. Just kill them. I don't think he knew I was. Well, he didn't see any goblin goons yet. They were in my sideboard. And early on, he dropped 2 cursed scrolls, so he had 2 cursed scrolls on the board pretty early. But otherwise, he wasn't really drawn much. He might have drawn like 1 or 2 creatures that I was able to deal with, but there wasn't much. He had a board that was just cursed scrolls and mana to activate the cursed scrolls early
Mhm.
on. And the first 2 times he activated his cursed scrolls, he named a card. I chose a card, and I chose the right card. So his curse scrolls didn't deal any damage. So that was 2 turns where he was sinking all of his mana into activating the scrolls, targeting a goblin, not hitting the goblin. And then next turn I was playing another goblin. So I was just able to build my board up. He just couldn't catch up. Uh, I think really it's just he didn't draw any gas that game. He just drew curse scrolls that I was getting lucky on. So I won game two. And then game three, I lost. It was a creature for creature battle, and then he got glory into the graveyard pretty early on. He had a board full of creatures. He was able to outrun me and swing for lethal with pro red unblockables. They were given pro red by Glory. So my thoughts after this match, we're going to talk about you and me playing a little bit later, Alex, but we met up probably like a week or so before this. And Green White Madness is one of the decks that I tested against some of your brews.
Yeah.
And in my experience, I was running out of gas. I can't remember exactly which of your decks that you brought that I played Green White Madness against, but I feel like I would start off strong and then I'd have a few things removed. I'd just run out of gas, or I'd get a board of, two twos out or two toughness, two power creatures out. But you'd bring out something big that I just couldn't deal with, and then something else big that I couldn't deal with would come out, and I'd just get stomped. I wanted like a little bit more. I'd run out of juice too soon. The deck didn't have enough juice in
Running out
my
of
hand.
juice.
That's what it was. It wasn't enough juice. That's my feeling. And I wanted a bigger body. I wanted like Roar of the Worm. I put in Inured Brushhopper when I came home. I haven't put in Roar of the Worm yet, but I put in Inured Brushhopper, a little slightly bigger body, three power, four toughness.
Mhm.
Uh, that was my experience. I felt like the guys were just too tiny, but that's not what I experienced when I was playing against this deck. That's when this guy was piloting it. So I'm not sure. I might be off on that. Maybe you can do just fine everything you want to do with this deck if you just use the normal creature package, which is Tireless Tribe, 1/1 gets +0/+4 when you discard from your hand, or Savannah Lions, which are 2/1, Patrol Hounds, 2/2, Basking Root Walla, which is 1/1, could be pumped +2/+2. Wild Mongrel, 2/2, discard a card from your hand, give it +1/+1, make it the color of your choice until end of turn. Or Arrogant Worm, which is the top end of the power toughness for most of the green white madness decks I see. They're 4/4. Maybe you could do everything this deck needs to do with the 4/4 at the top end. I don't know. I wanted more. I wanted more toughness. I wanted a roar in here when I played it, but this guy didn't need the Roar of the Worm to just stomp goblins, which is a very good aggressive creature deck. So that's got me reconsidering whether or not I want to put Roar or whether or not I need Roar in my Green White Madness deck. I've also been thinking, what's the right number of Glory? When I first put this deck together, I bought one Glory on TC Decks. And then I goldfished it for a little bit, and then I immediately bought two more Glory because I was like, I think every time I win, because I have Glory in the graveyard. And then when I played this guy the other day, the two games he won, he had Glory in the graveyard. I
Yeah,
think the
well, when I played against you, it seemed like the matches you won, at least two of them were because had glory in the graveyard. It was
I
doing a
think
lot
that's how
of
this
work.
deck wins. Glory in the graveyard.
Yeah.
So how many do you want on the main board? Do you want four? Do you want four Glory in the graveyard? It seems like two Glories in the graveyard is not good. But there's also a
Right.
lot of graveyard hate in Premodern because there are a lot of decks that play from the graveyard. So four would give you redundancy. The
Yeah.
first one gets cryptid or furnaced. Glory's three colorless, two white, 3/3 flying creature incarnation. Pay two colorless, one white. Creatures you control gain protection from the color of your choice until end of turn. Play this ability only if Glory's in the graveyard. Glory was gone. Glory was everywhere. Glory's in the graveyard, Alex.
Glory in the disco.
Glory in the disco. So yeah, I'm like, do you put four Glory in this deck when when you play it? I don't know. Right now I have two and two Inured Brushhoppers. Maybe I take out two Inured Brushhoppers and put in two more Glory.
Or one more. I mean, maybe just, three.
I think the guy I was playing the other day had three. I'm not
Yeah.
positive, but I think he had three. Three's probably the right answer, but when every game I win with a deck, I win because of a particular card, maybe it should be four. That's just a thought. That was my thought. That was my thought. So
Well, it's always that fear of like jamming up your hand with it, early
yeah,
on in the game. Get the opening hands where you have like, but I mean that applies to a lot of cards. It's a little bit hard to work around that if you have like
yes,
crucial cards in your deck that you can't cast like on turn one. Like,
yes. But now you're saying that, and it's making me think. So, what's the main thing you want to do with this deck? You want to drop a one drop or a two drop and then discard
Uh-huh.
because your one drops, your tireless tribes allow you to discard a card. Your two drop rod mongrels allow you to discard a card.
Yeah.
Your two drop patrol hounds allow you to discard a card. So you have four, five, six. You have 10 one to two casting cost cards that allow you to discard a card. If you're jammed up with glory and you're opening hand, it's really easy to get in the
Fuel.
graveyard right away.
Yeah, it's fuel
And you
for your
can't be. What were you going to say?
it's fuel for your discarding effects,
Yes.
like
Yeah.
fodder for them. Yeah.
So you're not necessarily just stuck with it. You can get
Right.
it where you want it. Now, you're not going to be able to activate its ability right away, but it's not jamming up your hand. It's where you want it.
Yes.
So that makes it, as far as like cards that are jamming up your hand are concerned, it makes it a little bit better.
Yeah, the madness aspect of the deck like alleviates that a little bit. Yeah.
That was my experience with Red Green Goblins. It's been fun to play so far. I'm learning. Maybe I need to lean into the sharpshooter a little bit longer. Think of tempo plays, Steve. Sometimes when you're playing another aggressive deck, if you can just slow them down a little bit, that's also good. You don't always have to just hit with your biggest goblins right away.
Hmm.
Uh, I'm learning how to sideboard more. I'm learning that there are even more spells out there than I realized that do -2/-2. So the Goblin Goons, in my opinion, are a good choice. And maybe I even want to put some flunkies in the board too. Uh, what else did I learn? I think that when I play the mirror match against another Goblins deck, I think I might want to mulligan until I have either a Lackey or a Mog Fanatic in my hand. I think maybe I don't stick with a hand that doesn't have either a Lackey or
I
a
mean, if it's
Mog
just either
Fanatic.
or, that shouldn't be too hard, right?
That's what I'm thinking.
Not so bad.
Although, watch the
Yeah.
next time I play a Goblins and Mirror match, I'll find myself mulligan into two.
Famous last words, yeah.
A mulligan, I can't mulligan to two because then Mountain Lackey with no other creature in your hand doesn't necessarily do you any good. Okay. So mulligan to Lackey or Mog Fanatic in hand in the mirror match, and also to a minimum of four cards. That's my rule. I'm also deciding that every time I can swing for lethal, I'm swinging for lethal, and I'm letting my opponent figure out what they want to do.
I think, yeah, you brought that up when we were playing, and I think I mean, at least when you did it, I thought it made sense, and I think it generally makes sense.
I heard somebody say that, and I'm like, I like that.
Put the
I like these.
pressure on.
Yes, I like these just heuristics. These are the rules of thumb for me to follow when I'm playing Magic and I'm tired, and
Yeah.
I'll be sitting there staring at the board, thinking, "What do I want to do? What do I want to do?" If I think,
Or when
"Oh,
the, yeah,
is there a general rule of thumb I can follow here?" If so, just do it. Just do it.
I could use that more because I find myself where like, I can see the difference between two choices, but I'm, not really sure which one will end up being, you know,
Hmm.
more significant for me.
And there are a lot of people like you and me, uh, who also go back and forth about stuff like that, and they have a lot of doubt. So why not put the pressure on them?
Hmm.
Think of your opponent, but think like your opponent might be thinking just like you. Okay, so put the pressure on them, make them figure it out, make them confused, make them cry, make them sad, make them freak out.
But yeah, I like this deck so far. I feel like it has a lot of oomph. It's fast. It
It's
brings
a
a
good
lot of
deck.
like goblin pressure out early, like not just small things, but uh, a variety. It's like go wide and go big at the same time, a little bit.
I like the
Don't have too many.
variety. I like the toolbox aspect of it. I can play
Uh,
kind of a toolbox deck without having survivals. That's not what I'm going to play all the time, but I was looking for another deck. Like I was looking for a deck that is on the more competitive end when I go to a monthly or something. When I want to try to be a little bit more serious, I'm looking for something I could focus on, and I think Red Green Goblins is what I'm going to
yeah,
do that
and
with
it's
for a
good.
little
You
while.
can practice playing goblins, which is a deck you'll see a lot, so it's good to
That's the other thing. Yeah.
have the practice with it. Green is it would be like tempting for me to start trying to fit other green cards in. Uh, but like you said, you don't want to ruin your goblin synergy too, so you got to
Yeah.
try to keep it focused.
What would you put in?
I don't know. I could go down a whole rabbit hole here. I haven't really thought about it yet, so I don't know. But like there's definitely options.
I'd want to do Berserk if I could put in a
Yeah, Berserk.
non-pre-modern legal card. I'd want to Berserk a Pow Driver.
Yeah.
I can't do that. Martin won't let me. Anyways, okay. That's part one of our playtesting journey, our recent playtesting journey. Part two is Alex, you and I visited Ryan from Ohio recently,
hmm
and then we did quite a bit of playing up there.
Played some matches.
I played some Red Green Goblins. I brought Red Green Goblins. I brought my old white weenie. And then I played some of Ryan's list, his Green White Madness list and his Burn list. Ryan's Green White Madness list was I think it was very close to the one that I played against the other day. It's basically what I'm showing you right here, minus the
Uh,
Inuit Brush Hoppers, minus the Reverent Mantra. Trying to think what else he had in those places.
I mean, it looks like most of the same stuff,
Yeah.
but I don't think I actually looked through the deck. So,
But I played in this Green White Madness deck and I played a burn list. And the burn list that he sleeved up was actually the exact same burn list that won the Buckeye Brawl.
oh, okay.
So it was the top deck at the Buckeye Brawl.
Yeah, you told me that.
Uh, and I played these decks against you. You brought quite a few. You brought what, three different
Yeah, I brought
brews?
three different pre-modern decks.
You brought a clerics deck and a couple other brews. I'm just going to go through those lists real quick. We could talk a little bit about how you think they performed, whatever we can remember. We didn't take notes, so we're just going to do a little bit of yapping. What
Uh-huh.
you liked about them, what might you change? I'm going to start with the clerics deck. I wrote in the notes it was mono black clerics. I was thinking that, but it's not. You have a black, blue, white clerics brew that you
Yeah. Uh-huh. Soon to change maybe or whatever, but blue, black, blue, mostly black, just has a little bit of blue in it.
I think this is the deck. This is the deck that you started with when we first played. And I think I started on my Red Green Goblins list. And the very first game we played, you ran me over with Scion of Darkness. This is what I remember. This came
Yeah,
out
I
very
don't
fast.
know if it's the first thing, but like, yeah, it's fairly old. I had like some version of this deck going back pretty far.
You dropped a turn one Image Crafter, I think. It was either turn one Image Crafter or turn one Dark Supplicant. And then an Image Crafter was on the board. And I remember you tapping the Image Crafter to turn it into a cleric, and then very quickly sacrificing three clerics and bringing out Scion of Darkness.
Yeah, it's not too hard to get three clerics by turn two.
It's not.
Because you have
So
a fair amount of one drops in here. Yeah, should we go through the list at all, or
yeah.
and I've already started tinkering with some of these since we played the other day, so I've changed them already a little bit. But
Okay.
uh, I've had one or two Blood Celebrants, which is a filtering cleric. It's a 1/1 that you can pay a black and a life to add a mana of any color. Um, I just added this the other day. We'll see. I don't know about it really, but it's called Bone Knitter. It's a
Okay.
2 mana 1/1 zombie cleric. I like that it's both a zombie and a cleric in this deck.
Yes.
It allows me to regenerate other target zombies for a black and a colorless. And it has a morph.
There's another one-off cleric that I've seen people run in mono black uh clerics that is called Headhunter.
Yeah, it if it gets through, if it like deals combat damage to them,
It's discard.
yeah, I
Yeah.
think it makes them discard
Yeah.
or yeah.
So
It's
you're
not
running
bad. I've had it in here and taken it back out, but I might have it down in the considering.
you're running Bone Knitter in
Uh,
I'll say you're running Bone Knitter in the Headhunter spot.
yeah, yeah. I just threw that in the other day because I like just learned about it and I wanted to remember it, but it's not really, that important or anything. Hasn't been in here before. But more into the important stuff is four Cabal Archons, four Rotlung Reanimators. I have four Dark Supplicants for the Scion of Darkness combo. I can
Mhm.
sacrifice three clerics to bring Scion of Darkness in from uh, library, hand, or graveyard. And it's a 6/6 trampler that lets me steal things out of my opponent's graveyard. It also has cycling for three colorless, so
Oh yeah, I always forget about that.
not bad. If you have the extra mana, I can cycle it and then do the cleric combo, get an extra card. Um, I have one Disciple of Malice in here, just kind of as a placeholder, more in the sideboard probably. Might take it out, but it's just there for protection of white, protection from white. Uh,
I always
Shep,
forget one quick
sorry.
thing. I always forget with the supplicant. If you sacrifice your clerics, you can search not just your library for Sign of Darkness. Yeah. So you
Yeah,
mentioned the cycling ability. You can search your graveyard, hand, and or your library for Sign of
yeah.
Darkness. Put into play.
And that's part of the reason I only have one Scion in here It's because if they kill it once, I can still do the combo again as long as they haven't removed it from the game.
I was actually looking at this just this morning. I was thinking, I don't know what the, I mean, most people play mono black clerics. And a lot
Yep.
of people that
Uh-huh.
play mono black clerics, they do the Scion of Darkness thing.
Uh-huh.
And I'm not sure what the number of scions that most people run. I do wonder if you want to put in another one just because swords is the most common removal. If
I've
it gets
thought about it
swords.
and I thought about sideboarding an extra one against swords or whatever. Yeah. So it's not, yeah, it's definitely not set in stone.
But then
Um,
I've also thought to myself, if you get rid of if somebody swords the first scion, how many games where you have to sacrifice three different clerics twice are you even going to win? So
yeah, yeah.
maybe if you just try it once and it gets swords, then you just go to a
Focus on
different
other
game
stuff.
plan. Yeah.
And at its heart, I really wanted this to be like a Rotling Reanimator deck more
Okay.
than a Scion of Darkness deck.
Which
Uh,
is the powerhouse of the deck.
yeah, I think it's, yeah, it does a lot of work.
Such a good
If you
card.
don't know, it's a 2/2. Whenever it or another cleric is put into a graveyard, put a 2/2 black zombie token into play. So replaces itself, replaces other clerics with zombies. Um, I mentioned also Withered Wretch in some number that I'll still mess with. Shepherd of Rot, because several of these are zombie clerics, and Rotling Reanimator generates zombies, so I can use Shepherd of Rot to do some like quick damage to, both players.
Yep.
Um, Gem Palm Polluter in some number also because it's just so good at dealing awesome direct damage. I don't think I had this in the other day when we played, but like
Okay.
I should probably always have one of them in here because I have enough zombies. I don't know. Uh, Priest of Gix in or out, not sure. Some of them I have like two in right now. Um, you guys both thought I should take white out of the deck. I had a couple clerics that destroy enchantments. Um, which yeah, I think I could let go. I really want to have that doubtless one in there, which is a
Oh,
lifelink
okay.
cleric that's star for number of clerics. I just like it, but
You just like it.
it might not make the cut if this is going to be a
Yeah.
blue and black deck.
I used to the first Goblins deck I built in Premodern, I just had a Reckless one in it, which
Mm,
is from like the same cycle. There's the one cycle.
mhm.
And it was power and toughness each equal to the number of goblins in play. But that was when I didn't know much about pre-modern goblins, and I was like, "Oh, it's going to be big."
Yeah.
Uh, I still like it though.
There's
It
just
just
so
doesn't
much stuff in
doesn't make the
Goblins,
cut.
that you can
Yeah.
use that's good. So, yeah. But I'll
Uh,
definitely I'm going to do a mono white clerics, and this will be in there for sure.
but this one at least has lifelink. I don't think Reckless one has anything other than like any ability other than it
Oh,
just gets pluses for the number of goblins. Let me look that up real
yeah.
quick.
They probably figured that would just be better because Goblins is good at making lots of goblins, so it would have like a just higher base power toughness than the other ones. I don't know.
Reckless one. Finally
Oh, it
pull it
has
up. From
haste.
onslaught. It has haste. Okay. It has haste. Reckless one's power and toughness are each equal to the number of goblins in play. It has haste.
Yeah.
I like lifelink way better.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyways, yeah.
Back to the
Back to
clerics.
the deck. So, and then the other creature I have in here that is not a cleric or a zombie is Image Crafter. Image Crafter is part of a whole bunch of cards from like Onslaught and maybe another set or two around there that change creature types.
Hmm.
It's one blue, 1/1 wizard. Tap, choose a creature type other than legend or wall. Target creature's type becomes that type until end of turn. So these guys are in here for a few different reasons. I can turn my zombies into clerics, so that when they die, my Rotling Reanimator makes more zombies for them.
Hmm.
I can turn the image crafter itself, into a cleric. I can turn my opponent's creatures into clerics and then maybe destroy them using a misery charm, which I have below. So it does a couple different things, and it can tweak the number of clerics I have in play at any time, or zombies.
Yes.
Yeah. Um, Sorceries. Right now I just have a couple Chainer's Edicts, but it could be uh, uh, Diabolic Edicts. Whatever. I have Profane Prayers, which is a two black, two colorless, uh, basically a drain life for X, where X is the number of clerics in play.
Which you have a lot of.
Yeah, which I have a lot of. I have a reanimate, just for fun. Uh, in
It can also get, I
instance,
mean, that can get your Sign of Darkness back if you decide to cycle your Sign of Darkness. You can
yeah,
bring,
and it
well,
can
you
be
lose a lot of life, but
bringing
but
a Rotling Reanimator back is a
that's
really good
definitely
use
worth it.
of 3 life and 1 mana
Yes.
to me in this deck. Same with Cabal Archon because it can drain life. We skipped over that card a little bit, but it allows me to sack clerics to drain 2 life from my opponent. So bringing that or my Rotlung back later in the game can be like one of the creatures I need. Same thing with like Shepherd of Rod, or since Gem Palm Polluter is a zombie that you use like a spell. Uh, Although I guess I don't really want to reanimate that into play. That's like a bad card to reanimate. But uh, in any case, yeah, there are things to reanimate that would be fun.
So you've changed it up a little bit.
Yeah, I've just been tweaking. Like I said, when I make decks online here, I leave things as like a placeholder sometimes, or to remind me to, So this is in flux. But um,
You
instance,
have,
I have Dark Rituals. I've turned it down to 2 because we've been talking a little bit
oh,
about,
okay.
I don't know,
I was going to
avoiding
ask
Dark
what this,
Ritual in certain circumstances. And yeah, I'm not sure. I'm gonna try to play it with like less than a 4 pack and see how it goes.
this is a Japanese print. I was going to ask what this was, and I
Yeah.
just didn't look closely enough earlier today, and I would have saw that there were three skulls there,
Oh yeah.
three swamp symbols,
Yeah,
black
I think
mana
I had
symbols.
4 of these in the other day when we played. But
Okay.
we'll see. I'm gonna try playing it with a few less. I have Artificial Evolution, which is a 1 blue instant. Does the same thing as Image Crafter, but it targets a spell or permanent, and you change all those instances of the word with another creature type permanently. So
Mm-hmm.
I can use the Artificial Evolution. Uh, I can use it on my Rotling Reanimator, to change zombies to clerics, so that whenever any cleric dies, it makes another cleric. Some uh, utility uses like that. I can also use this card against some of my opponent's effects. If you have like, I can mess with your goblin synergy in your deck by changing something, uh, not in, making it not a goblin anymore. Um, those sorts of things. So it's kind of a fun card. But it's part of this, like, it's a 3 card, right now 3 cards between the Artificial Evolution and 2 image crafters that can change creature type for me, basically.
Yeah.
A little more removal, Diabolic Edict, Smother, and I have 2 Misery Charms, which can destroy a cleric, return a cleric to my hand from my graveyard, or make a player lose 2 life. So
Mm-hmm.
uh, I like that. I can change one of my opponent's creatures into a cleric and kill it. I can finish off my opponent. I can get one of my Rotling Reanimators back from my graveyard to cast it again later on. Um, and then in lands, I also have Starlit Sanctum besides normal mana producing lands, which allows me to sacrifice clerics to uh, gain life or to take away life from my opponent. I have
So
some
it's
multicolor mana, multicolor land in there because I was trying to make it white, blue, black for a minute, but I'll mess around with those. But that's the
Underground River,
basic,
Gemstone Mine, Dromar's Cavern.
yeah. But that's the basic idea of the deck.
Yeah.
You're
So
better giving the deck rundowns than I am, Steve.
so it's like a mono black clerics deck, but you've
Yeah,
spiked in blue and white for Doubtless One because you love that card, and then blue for a couple different spells that can change the creature type.
yeah,
Creature type.
yeah.
Any general thoughts after playing this deck a few rounds against a few different things the other day?
I've been pretty happy with how it's performing so far. It can be a little slow to get going. 2 of my
Mm-hmm.
main things are those 3 mana guys, and then I need to have them down usually for a little bit to start doing something.
Okay.
Um, Having the Scion of Darkness does help me do something threatening early on, which is nice. But it's also, kind of a risky investment. Um, so we'll see. The Cabal Archons have been pulling their weight. The Rotling Reanimators have been pulling their weight. I wanted to have some life drain in this deck, or like life gaining for me. Uh, and the Cabal Archon's doing pretty well with that. Um, yeah, I feel like if I can stay, and I'm doing this in another deck, I'm gonna make a zombie deck that's based a little bit on, direct damage. If I can stay ahead of my opponent's life total with my life gain, then I can just kill them with a Shepherd of Rot, like,
Yeah.
anytime.
Yeah.
Um,
So I'll say playing against it. I mean, I played against it starting off with the Goblins deck, and you did the Sign of Darkness thing right away. That's kind of what I remember. And I had no way to remove it. So, like you said, it's a high risk, high reward. Like Sign of
yeah.
Darkness trick, I really like when you're playing a deck that doesn't have, uh, that isn't packing Swords to Plowshares, isn't packing Diabolic Edict, or any
Hmm.
other like 1 to 2 mana spell that can get rid of just
Yeah.
target one creature, or even non-targeted. What's
Innocent
that
blood.
one where Diabolic Edict has them sacrifice it, right?
Hmm.
Sacrifice. But if you killed 3 of your creatures and you just brought out this one, you only have the one to sacrifice. Now you've lost 4 creatures.
Yeah.
It's terrible in those cases. But
Hmm.
in goblins, I have a very aggressive deck. I was out aggroed by Sign of Darkness because I don't have anything to do on like turn 3 for a 6/6.
Uh-huh.
And then I didn't even want to put more creatures onto the board because if you killed any, you were just going to grab them next turn.
Yeah.
Because after I blocked your Scion, its ability was going to trigger, and you were just going to pull something out of the graveyard. So it's
Hmm.
like there's really nothing for me to do. I just got run over. So extremely fragile to removal, but extremely dangerous if they don't have removal in hand. So I think it's good to have one. I think it's good to run one Sign of Darkness at least. I also was thinking almost all your characters or your creatures are clerics. What did you use the image crafter for? And could you run a mist form creature instead? Those are creatures that can change their own type. But
Uh-huh.
then I was forgetting about the misery charm. So the ability to change the creature type of any other creature allows you to target your opponent's creatures with image crafter, turn them into a cleric, and kill them with the misery charm. And there was
Hmm.
also one other thing you mentioned too that you can do with the image crafter that you couldn't do with a creature that just can turn itself into
Yeah, like if they kill one of my 2/2 black zombies, I can turn it into a cleric, and then it will trigger the reanimator again and make it
trigger the
a
reanimator. Yeah.
zombie.
So you can get more from the reanimator.
Yeah, or I could take one of my 2/2 zombies, I can turn it into a cleric so that I can sacrifice it to my Cabal Archon for the
Yeah.
one drain.
I was just thinking, I was trying to like get rid of the image crafter. What can you put in instead of the image crafter?
Yeah.
Because having the image crafter in there makes you run blue mana,
Oh
and then
yeah.
that forces you to have the underground river, and then you're dealing damage to yourself with your lands potentially, which makes your Shepherd of Rot a little more dangerous
Yeah.
potentially. So
It's
I don't
definitely
know.
like a gimmicky thing that's adding a second color to my deck. I like
Yes,
totally, yeah, I am aware of this, but like,
but
yeah,
sometimes you just want to do that also.
fun. Yeah, I do.
Sometimes you just want to
Yeah.
do it. Well, that's why I was like, maybe don't get rid of the blue totally, but maybe put in a mist form creature, which is also goofy. So it's another
Yeah.
goofy thing to do, but that's worse than the image crafter.
I think
It
I
doesn't
looked
give
at
you as
like
much variety.
Mistform War Chief, maybe.
The other thing is the misform creatures, they're higher casting cost. Here, I pulled up all the
Yeah.
mistform creatures in Premodern right here.
I was
I
looking
was
at
thinking
Mistform
Mistform
War
Dreamer
Chief the
because
other
it's the
day.
easiest one to cast and it's a flyer. So I'm like, you also have a 2/1 flyer, then you can
Oh
swing
yeah.
over with. Uh,
Okay.
but it's 3 mana still. It's 2 colorless, 1 blue.
Yeah.
Uh, Mistform Stalker is actually only 1 colorless, 1 blue. It has really weird art. It's 1/1. Mistform Stalker's type becomes a creature type of your choice until end of turn. You pay 2 colorless, 2 blue, give it +2/+2 and game flying until end of turn. So that's a lot of mana to make it into a 3/3 flyer.
Yeah,
Were you asking
especially
if there
two
was
blue mana.
there is a Mistform War Chief? I think you
Yeah, I
mentioned
was
Mistform.
looking at this the other day. It's not bad actually.
2 colorless, 1 blue, 1/3. Creature spells you play that share a creature type with Mistform War Chief cost 1 less to play, 1 colorless less to play. Tap it. Mistform War Chief type becomes a creature type of your choice until end of turn. So you can
Oh,
use it to bring out any creature type sooner.
yeah, I can ramp out my clerics faster, so that's not bad.
Your
But I pay a
clerics,
blue and two colorless to get that going. So,
yes, yes.
you know, I like that it's 1/3. That's neat. But maybe a different version of this deck one day.
Quite a few of your clerics do have colorless in the casting cost too.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, not worth putting it in for two colors, one blue.
Yeah.
But yeah, my thoughts were maybe get rid of the image craft or maybe get rid of the doubtless one. I don't know. But if you
Yeah,
want
I
to do the
mean,
image crafter thing, I think if we were going to get rid of one color, let's say you want to keep two colors, I think you make this a black blue deck and you get rid of the doubtless one.
I agree, yeah.
Because the doubtless run,
It's all the Dallas one's hanging on by a thread at this point.
yeah,
I'm just not willing to pull the trigger. That's all.
it adds a bigger body. It adds life link too. So some life gain, but
More life gain is mostly why I would want to play it,
more
and
life gain.
obviously the fact that it can get bigger. But uh, I feel like there's probably gonna be a lot of situations where it's only a 2/2 or something because they've been
Yeah,
like, killing my creatures, and
yes.
so yeah, I'll probably take it out at this point. It's not really crucial or anything.
I think you just lean into the Archon for life gain and maybe even a drain life if you got rid of one color for some
Yeah,
life gain. I don't think that doubtless one is adding much. I think you just get rid of it and put in like another withered wretch or something.
yeah, I think that's a good call.
Yeah.
Make it a
Okay.
little faster.
Another brew you brought is a beast brew.
Yeah, I've
The
had this
theme
one
is
for a while. I've been messing with it periodically.
theme is ramping out beasts with natural order and manimals, I think.
Yeah, it's not. I'm not running a full block of natural orders. There's just two, but it has natural orders. It has some manimal ramp. It has a splash of black for removal. And other than that, it's a beasts deck. Ravenous Baloth. Um, I'm using Wirewood Savage to draw cards. Whenever a beast comes into play, I might draw a card. It's a 2/2 for a green and two colorless elf. Um, Beast package in here. It's again in flux, but definitely the Ravenous Baloths. I like them a lot. I want them to kind of be the core of the deck. Um, I like Spirit Monger a lot. I can get it with my natural order, or I can really hard cast it if I want to.
Yeah. It's not that hard to
Stampeding
hardcast.
Wildebeest. Sorry, what?
Not that hard to hardcast, especially when you're running
Yeah,
four birds and two elves and a Quirion Ranger.
yeah. I have Stampeding Wildebeests, two right now, but I might change them because I have to return a green creature to deal with those guys. Hunting Moa right now, I have two. This was a main part of the deck originally. I had four of them.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it's two colorless, one green, 3/2 Echo. Whenever it comes into play or is put into a graveyard from play, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. So I like that it puts counters on other things. It does the counter thing twice when it comes in and when it leaves. I can make itself bigger. I can make my manimals bigger. I can make my other beasts bigger. With black graveyard stuff, I can bring it back into play and put more counters on things. So it's kind of a neat card. In practice, when I've played it, some like the Echo has been frustrating and it
Yes.
slows me down. Um, so I've taken it down to two, and I'm thinking about it maybe more as like a later game play instead of a faster, earlier game beast.
That's been my experience with Echo too. Uh, when we played back in the day, we played before Echo was a mechanic. Then when we got back into the game and started playing Premodern, we were like, oh, these Echo cards. And pretty much every Echo card that I've decided to give a spin, I felt like I've only wanted to keep playing the card if I enjoyed or benefited from the ability enough without paying the Echo.
Yeah,
Because I
I
find
only really
myself
want to pay
not
the
wanting to pay
Echo if
the
I have
Echo a
nothing
lot.
else to do.
Yeah. Yes.
Otherwise, I'm trying to move on to my next card. Um, and the way Echo works, you can't even really cheat the creature into play. It won't avoid the Echo. You still have to pay it. So,
Yeah.
uh, you know, um, so these are in here. They're kind of fun. They are a little bit helpful sometimes, like mid or late game now, I think. But they could probably be taken out for a different beast. They're not crucial. I have two Wall of Blossoms just to hold people off and help me draw some more cards, act as another body while I'm getting, good strong beasts into play. I have a Croson Tusker. Uh, I'm lukewarm on this one. I'm not sure. I skipped it the first time I was building the deck. I went back around to it.
Interesting.
It's a beast. Um,
Interesting, Alex. It's interesting you would say that.
how come? You think I should have more of them?
I don't know. It's just interesting you to say that because I've been staring at Crows and Tusker and I've decided that I want to play a deck that plays for Crows and Tusker. I don't know
Oh,
why.
okay. Okay.
So but don't have an experience playing with it, but I want to try it out. I also saw that it was a recent SCG Con Premodern 10K in Wisconsin. I think Brian Kowal, uh, uh, Magic player for a long time. He now owns Misty Mountain Games. He's very active in the pre-modern community. I think he won one of the pre-modern 10Ks that day at the SCG Con with The Rock, and I think he was running four Crows and Tuskers in it. And I was like, I want to play that deck.
Mhm.
I think he's a big fan of Crows and Tusker too. I think I've heard him talk about it a lot as one of his pet cards. And land cycling has grown on me too. I played against a lot of black white control, for instance, Eternal Dragon cycling for planes and stuff.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Uh, Crows and Tusker, it
It's just regular cycling, but
it's just regular cycling. Well, you search for a basic land card, not regular cycling.
oh, so I'm sorry. Yeah,
Yeah.
it has a regular cycling ability that lets you draw a card, but then has an additional ability that lets you look for a land. Yeah.
Yes. Discard a card, draw a card, and you draw a land. It's not like Eternal Dragon. You don't get to keep bringing it back to your hand if you have the mana.
Yeah.
But I like the fact that, it replaces itself. It helps me ramp out by allowing me to go for a basic land. So
Uh-huh.
it functions really well in the early game. And then it also serves as a big body in the late game.
Uh-huh.
So
And
I've
so
just
yeah, in
been
this deck, go ahead.
interested in this card.
Yeah. In this deck, I'm using enemy colors, so being able to fetch the correct land might be helpful to me.
Yeah, a mana
I have
fixer. Yeah,
some graveyard stuff, although it's not really ideal. I don't want to reanimate the Crimson Tusker and lose seven
no,
life.
that'd be
Uh,
terrible.
but I have an animate dead in here for this. I split my reanimates into one and one with an animate dead, so I could use it on the Tusker maybe, especially if I put more in. Um, but yeah, it's a beast. I can maybe bring it back from my graveyard. It helps me get a land that might be helpful to me. Um, I don't know how many I should have really, but I'll play around and practice with it, I guess.
So it's a mid-range beast deck, and you
Yeah.
have Wiredwood Savage, which is two colors, one green, 2/2 elf. Whenever a beast comes into play, you may draw a card. You have Wiredwood Savage as card draw,
Uh-huh.
and you
Plus some,
run
yeah, like
you
cycling
run
and Wall of Blossoms and yeah.
you run a natural order package.
Hmm.
It's very much a green black mid-range style
Yeah.
deck.
I want a deck like this so I have like something kind of like Green Stompy to test things against,
Hmm.
just like something that's a, kitchen table mid-range creature deck. Everyone needs to have one, right? Like,
Here are my thoughts playing against this deck when I was playing against you. I like Spirit Monger a lot.
mhm.
I know it's 5 mana. I know it's not as popular in pre-modern as it was at different times back in the day.
It's strong
Different
though when it gets down.
different eras. It was a superstar in some versions of the Rock that we talked about a couple years ago now when we first started the podcast. I couldn't answer Natural Order into Spirit Monger right away when I was playing against this deck with my White Weenie deck because I just didn't have a swords in my hand. And kind of like the Sign of Darkness, this presents a potential really big threat that you can get out fairly early with a natural order package.
Hmm.
That if the opponent can't answer very quickly, it will end the game. That's what happened when you natural ordered out the Spirit Monger. I think you natural ordered a birds, and then the Spirit Monger showed up, and I was like, "Fuck,
Hmm.
nothing I can do except die." So I like the Spirit Monger. I like the contested cliff. You didn't have this in when we played, but you've added it.
No, yeah, I
Contested
just got
cliffs.
him. Yeah, and I hadn't put him in yet.
It's a land, tap, add one colorless to your mana pool. You could also pay one red, one green, tap it, choose target beast you control and target creature an opponent controls. Each creature deals damage equal to its power to the other. This is a wonderful kitchen table card. Although I feel like maybe I'm naive, but I feel like it could be better than just a good kitchen table card. I feel like it should get a little bit more play.
I like it. I think
Uh,
with the right creatures,
yeah,
it can do a lot of work. It's nice to, I mean, obviously, what am I trying to say? It is obvious what Ravenous Baloth does, but
yes,
using it in a contested cliffs battle, if you have to like kill your own creature, like that's cool. You're getting the light
yes.
from it. Um, I have a creature with regeneration in here. I have, uh, I just think yeah, it's good. Sorry.
You also just have a lot of big bodies,
Yeah,
and
some big bodies.
they don't have trample. A lot of them don't have trample. So, I mean, there's just a benefit to being able to take some of these big bodies and use them to pick off creatures on the other side. Especially because you run two Chainer's Edicts and a Smother, but sometimes you need more removal than that. And it's good to be able to put a land down and use your creatures as some sort of direct damage threat against your opponent's creatures.
Mm,
They're 1/1s, they're 2/2s that are doing other things on their side of the board for them aren't safe.
yeah,
They're not safe. The only thing is you don't have a lot of red in this deck, and now you've
right.
introduced
Yeah. I'm pretty much
a
relying on the
red
Birds of
mana.
Paradise. I threw a Daragaz's Caldera in there because that
Not a
gives me
bad
black,
idea.
red, green, so that's nice. But and Gemstone Mine. But yeah, it's a little tough, but I'll see
So I
how it
like the
goes.
I like the contested cliffs. We'll see how you can make the mana work. I like the card draw from Wirewood Savage. I was targeting this a lot when I was playing against you with
Yeah,
my white weenie, and you were like, "Oh, I noticed you targeting the Wirewood Savage a lot." I'm like, "Yeah, it's going to help you draw into the things that scare me more." So this is my thought. Sometimes I go back and forth when I'm, playing Swords to Plowshares. Do I target something like this that's going to let you draw into things that scare me more, or do I wait for the thing that scares me more to come out? Well, a lot of times my thought is I target the thing that's going to help you draw into the things that scare me more, and ideally I kill you before you draw into the big threat without
mhm,
the card draw spell. That's where I was going.
yeah. I asked you about it because I was kind of like, so far the Wirewood Savage has felt a little underwhelming to me. So I kind of wanted your input to see how you thought. Like
Is it because it just gets removed, or is it
maybe it might
because
be that.
or is it
Yeah, it
because
might
you
just
just
be
don't
because
feel
it's
like you're
eating
getting
removal,
enough additional cards?
which I don't mind.
Because I was going to present to you Kavu Lair potentially.
I
Kavu Lair,
remember that, but not what it does.
which is a card that I've
So I
been
don't
playing around with
remember
a
it.
little bit. Uh, I mean, it's very similar. It's pretty much a Wiredwood Savage enchantment. It's the same casting cost, two colorless, one green. It's an enchantment, so there's not going to be as much removal for it. You're going to be facing more removal spells that can get rid of a 2/2 creature than can get rid of an enchantment, usually,
Hmm.
I think.
I have seen
Whenever a
this.
creature with power 4 or greater comes into play, its controller draws a card. So it's not a beast card draw spell,
No,
but
but
most of your creatures are power 4 or greater.
yeah,
The only beasts that aren't power 4 or greater in this deck are the two hunting Moa,
yeah, and
which
they
you
might
may or
not be
may,
in there super
which you
long
may or
anyway.
may
So
not keep in the deck.
yeah, I also had Blastoderm when we were playing the other day. I think I just had
Okay,
one in, but so maybe some number of Blastoderms in here.
because this was going to be another comment to me. I really love the Wildebeest. It's one of my favorite cards from Visions. But you only have four targets that you'd really like to bounce in this deck. The two Moas, which may not even stay, and the two Wall of Blossoms.
Hmm.
Might the Blastoderm just be better in this spot? It's a 5/5. Yes, it fades out, but it can't be targeted.
Yeah,
Sometimes that's a big deal. If they can't hit it with any targeted removal, that's a 5/5 coming out. So that was just a thought. And my last thought about this deck was it's a mid-range deck. It's a black green mid-range deck, but there's not a lot of removal or disruption. And you might benefit with having a little bit more. And I was thinking maybe play around with Tangle Wire or Pernicious Deed. Those are my two thoughts.
okay, that's fine. I put Pernicious Deed in the considering list of this deck just recently.
Okay.
Um,
So now what you're doing is you might just be evolving this into the rock. But
Yeah, I know. I thought about that earlier when I was like, but I'm just using pernicious deed in this like, generic broad way, so it's okay.
that's
Going
I
into
have a
considering for a
I have a
second.
mono green deck that I was like, this is a mono green brew, but let me put in Pernicious Deed, and I'm like, now it's just turning into the rock. But who cares?
Yeah.
You could keep the Wiredwood Savage in it, it wouldn't be the rock. Does the
I
rock
guess.
usually run Land War Elves and Birds of Paradise too? This is stupid. I should know this. Do most rock decks have 8 manimals? I don't think so. This is embarrassing.
I don't feel like so either, but I'm not sure.
Anyways, I like Spiritmonger. I like Natural Order. I like contested cliffs, but we're gonna see how well you're able to work the red mana into this,
Uh-huh.
how often you're able to activate it. I like the Wiredwood Savage, but I might consider Kavu Lair instead
Okay.
because it's
Only problem with
fragile too.
Cavalier is that my opponent might benefit from it. That's the only thing that keeps me
That's true. Whenever
hesitant.
creature for that's true. Consider Kavu Lair.
But yeah, I definitely will consider it. I have a crop rotation in here, which I really like. Every time I use it, you know, I've been happy with it. I like it. That can help me get some red mana too, so that's cool.
Yes. Yeah, I was thinking. Talking about the Wiredwood Savage again, I'm remembering very early on when I built my original White Weenie deck, and it was still like very Cataclysm slash Imperial Armor focused. You played against me with another version of this deck, and the Wirewood Savage was really good then. That's I'm remembering now. That's why I targeted the Wirewood Savage every time it came
Okay.
out.
I have had a match where it like went off and I ended up like
Yeah.
throwing a bunch of cards with it.
And I was feeling like I can't let this thing go off.
Yeah.
I can't let that happen. So I like card draws in decks, especially where you're drawn into a lot of beef,
Yeah.
a lot of beefy bodies.
Beefy bodies. Some things I'm considering for this, if you go down to the sideboard in the
Uh-huh.
considering section,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
sideboard I have Sky Shroud War Beast. I don't know how I feel about this card. I'm trying to look for some more beasts that might be on the lower end of the mana curve.
Scratch Out Ridgeback?
No, it's up in the sideboard.
Oh, in the sideboard.
Yeah,
Okay.
there it is. Yeah. Sky Shroud
Okay.
War Beast is one green, one colorless. It's beast, star trample, power and toughness equal to the number of non-basic lands target opponent controls.
Yeah, it's an interesting sideboard card, but I'm trying to think about it. How big is it usually going to be, really?
Yeah, I mean,
2, 2, 3, 3,
three,
max most
three.
of the time?
Yeah. So, I don't know. I'm just looking for lower casting cost beasts. And then there
Yeah.
was down below, you saw the Sky Shroud Ridgeback, which is one green, 2/3 for a fading two.
I really like Ridgeback, but it's probably better in more of a stompy, like a lower to the ground stompy, almost like
Yeah,
10
yeah,
land stompy list than this like a mid-range list like this is.
yeah. Okay.
That's my thought.
Verdant Force, Penumbra Worm, they're just here to remind me of, other big creatures, but they're not beasts. So,
They're not beasts.
hesitant to lose some of that synergy. Uh, I had Pernicious Deed to considering, and look at Consume Strength. This card's kind of awkward. Uh, it's maybe again high risk, high reward, but it's
Yeah.
just like so much fun to me.
I like the -2/-2, especially because your threats are all I don't know what to say. I like the -2/-2, but there are a lot of other cards that just deal -2/-2 to like everything that you could
Yeah,
use to eliminate more of your opponent's threats.
yeah,
So I don't know that you put consume strength in.
yeah.
Because
It's
yes,
just
with those cards you don't get +2/+2 but that benefit will only apply to one of your creatures only until end of turn. I see that now. Yeah, that's not great.
yeah,
Target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Another target creature gets -2/-2 until end of turn. The only thing this would maybe be good for is when you swing in with a 4/4 and they like have a 4/4 to block with, and they think you're going to trade, and then all of a sudden they're not trading.
yeah.
I think you get more juice out of like a hailstorm or something
Okay,
in this
yeah, that's a good
spot.
one. Hailstorm.
Because then you can wait, cards like Infect that I was just talking about earlier. I got hit with an Infect.
Uh-huh.
I think that's just -2/-2 to everything, which if you use that like mid game or later in the game, it's not so bad for you because you're going to be losing Manimals, Llanowar Elves, and Birds of Paradise, and by that point in the game, you probably don't need them all that much. But uh, still, the Hailstorm is probably better in that spot too because Hailstorm will just you could wait for them to attack and then you just kill their creatures. Why not keep your birds and your elves if you can? Is what I'm saying. The other thing is Hailstorm is one colorless and two green. Infest is one colorless and two
Well,
black. Your
the
deck is
hailstorm will kill my birds and elves, right?
I don't think so.
It does two damage to each attacking creature and one damage to
Oh,
me
one to
and to
everything.
my creatures.
I forgot about that part. I was
Yeah,
just thinking
so
about -2/-2 to the attackers.
but still might work. I mean, it might be a
Uh,
point in the game where I don't need those creatures anymore, or it's just more important to have the hailstorm ability.
is there something you can use to keep your Manimals though? Probably not. If you go more red, you can always Simoon, but then that's -1/-1.
The thing that was attractive about consume strength to me is that I think I can make it like I can hit two things with it. Like if I'm attacking with two creatures and you're both blocking them, I can give the A and
Okay.
B creature, I can give yours a -2/-2, and on the C and D creature, I can give mine a +2/+2. So now both of my creatures kill both of you lose both of your creatures.
Okay.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah. You could get a 2-for-1
Yeah.
in combat. Mm, I don't know. Fun draft card.
It's definitely, yeah, like it's
Better
kind of
better
clunky
draft
and
card.
high risk. So I
Yeah.
don't know. But maybe I'll pop one every once in a while just for fun.
And then the deed in considering. Okay. Okay, Alex. That's your current blue-black mid-range deck. I think you put in some Blastoderms. I think you consider a deed or a tangle wire. That's my thought.
What did you say?
I think you put in some Blastoderms. I think you consider deed and tangle wire.
Oh,
I think you keep in natural order. I like natural ordering out big stuff. Third deck you brought and played was a sleeper agent deck.
this is my gimmick deck.
12 creatures in this one. Featured is 4 sleeper agents.
Yeah.
Then you have 4 Wall of Souls, which most people don't know, probably. 1 colorless, 1 black, 0/4 summon wall. Whenever Wall of Souls is dealt combat damage, it deals an equal amount of damage to target opponent. Sleeper Agent, people might not know also. It's 3/3, 1 black to cast. When it comes into play, target opponent gains control of it. During your upkeep, Sleeper Agent deals 2 damage to you. So you want to give it to your opponent, and it just deals 2 damage to them every upkeep.
Yeah. It's like an evil donation deck. So I throw those agents down, and the idea is then to also, defend against them, defend against the other threats my opponent has. It's kind of a prison deck that like chips away at them over time. I also have some shadow creatures so that I can maintain like a drip of damage, going through to help speed things along.
3 Dalthy Slayer.
Yeah, or four probably. Right now, I threw that fledgling Jin in, but just because maybe I want a flyer instead of a shadow creature, but it deals
Yeah,
damage to me, which isn't
yeah.
ideal. I'll probably just run like four Dathi Slayers or
Fledgling Jin is 1 colorless, 1 black, 2/2 flying. During your upkeep, it deals 1 damage to you.
yeah. So
Those are the
then
creature
I have
package.
so what?
That's the creature package. Now sorceries.
Uh-huh. I have two portents. I don't know how many I should have in this deck, but I like it, and for now I have two. I have an unearth, uh, pretty handy for just like pulling a sleeper agent back into play on their side immediately if they've killed it already. Good for bringing one of my wall of souls back because I only have four of them and they're pretty useful and helpful like to my deck idea. So I have an unearth in there just for utility. I have one cannibalize. This is it's kind of like what we were just talking about with the consume strength. This is a bit of a high risk play here, but
Mm-hmm.
cannibalize is one black, one colorless sorcery. Choose two target creatures controlled by any one player. Remove one from the game and put two +1/+1 counters on the other. Um, so this deck has Meek Stones in it. Um, with Cannibalize, I might not mind making one of their creatures bigger if it already can't attack.
Mm-hmm.
I also have Paralyze in here, which does the same thing, keeps them locked down so they can't attack. Um, but yeah, it allows me to remove something from the game. I can also pump one of my creatures if I really need to and like ditch it another creature in order to do it. It's just kind of a goofy card. Um, in instance, I have two mana leaks and two confounds, which counters a spell that targets one or more creatures and then lets me draw a card. So I wanted some creature protection package in here, protect my sleeper agents, which I know will get targeted. Um,
Yeah.
and then I just get to benefit by drawing a card for, them trying to kill my sleeper agents or my walls. Have a smother for now or more
Two.
because it's good. Oh, there's two. Okay.
Two smothers.
Meek Stone, I had three, two right now. I'm adding Tangle Wire because I want more uh, defense probably.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, oh sorry, yeah, we didn't do the enchantments yet. So there's also propaganda in my enchantments. Um, but that, yeah, prisony package of artifacts and enchantments will probably, I'll mess around with that. I could do ensnaring bridge, uh, more propagandas, whatever. I have four paralyzes. I have two standstills right now. Because once I kind of get my little combo thing going, I could throw down a standstill, gain gain some cards. I have an insubordination. I'm not sure about this card. If I want more or if I want none.
Yeah.
It's a two black aura that makes that creature deal 2 damage to them every turn. So it does the same effect as the sleeper agent, but it's an aura. So I could double up on a sleeper agent, put one of these on them, just put it on one of their other creatures, and then they have to decide if they want to attack into my wall of souls or tap their creature down and lose its ability to untap or take the 2 damage. Um, I have one curiosity right now. Um, don't know how I feel about like the curiosity versus the standstill because I haven't really played with standstill much yet, but both just ways to draw cards.
So it's a blue-black sleeper agent deck with prison elements. And
Yeah.
here I have some thoughts after playing against this deck, Alex. I played against it a couple times. And my main thought is you got to lean harder into either the aggro or the prison
Uh-huh.
strategy. I think you can go either way with it, actually.
Mhm.
And you just need to pick one. You don't need to do anything. You do whatever you want. It's a kitchen table magic deck.
Yeah.
But I think you can make the deck pretty fun and a little bit better if you just lean into one of those strategies a little
Yeah.
bit more. So prison thoughts, bunch of ways to go here. Depends if you want to play more of a black deck or a blue deck. Prison thoughts, I would add more propaganda because I was playing this deck against you with creature-based decks and burn. So like goblins, white weenie, burn. I've played
Mhm.
against this deck with those three, and you were dealing, you're dealing damage with sleeper agent. You're even dealing damage with insubordination for a little while, but I was still able to outrun you most of the time. And
Uh-huh.
I think it's because you didn't have enough prison elements. So if you
Yeah.
just stick with the sleeper agent strategy, but like more propaganda, where you just prevent me from attacking with my creature horde to the same extent. You just
Yeah.
need a
I
little bit more
agree. It
time.
needs to be more prisony. What do you think about the four paralyzes? Should I trim those down at all or
I don't
keep
know.
them and just add more?
I kind of like the paralyze. And it's a pretty nice little one mana. I mean, it's not removal, but I mean, you paralyze some stuff. You can use it to paralyze the sleeper agent so they don't get to deal the three
Yes.
damage
Hmm.
to you and they just take two. You can also use it to paralyze their big creatures, or even if they don't have big creatures, at least some of their creatures,
Hmm.
and it still slows them down because they're not going to be swinging with everything every turn, or if they are, they're not going to be paying more stuff, putting more stuff onto the board because you paralyze some stuff, and I did untap it sometimes, but it's like most of the time I was just keeping it tapped because I had other things I wanted to do with that 4 mana.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so far I like it, and yeah, I
I
like
like
that I can
paralyze.
use it on the sleeper agent, even though it's like kind of like a, you know, 2 card low power
Yeah,
combo, but
I have an affinity for it too because it's original. This is original Magic.
uh,
It's paralyze. Uh, but I would say, if you want to go more prison, add more propaganda. I would suggest, and then maybe the thing I'm going to say next would influence me to take out the paralyze or reduce the number of paralyze. I was thinking maybe Winter Orb instead of Meekstone because you had the Meekstone out against me, and I was able to consistently get under the Meekstone. I think Winter Orb would have slowed me more, especially if you have more propaganda out.
uh-huh.
And every time I wanted to attack, I had to pay mana to attack, and then I don't get to untap all that mana next turn. So I'm just
Hmm.
thinking Winter Orb might be better, especially because your threats are low mana cost. Sleeper Agent, 1 mana. Wall of Souls, defensive and also a threat. They tack into it, 2 mana.
Hmm.
The Shadow Creatures, 2 mana. Everything's 1 or 2 mana in this deck.
Yeah.
So you work pretty well under Winter Orb, I think, even in the absence of Manimals.
Okay, that's
Uh,
not a bad idea. I might have looked at it originally like a long time ago. Can't remember. But Tangle Wire might actually be bad in here, by the way, because they can use, if I've given them a sleeper agent, they can use one of the tapping targets on the sleeper agent I've given them. So that's not ideal.
Very next bullet point I have written down in my thoughts section on prison. Maybe remove the Tangle Wire.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's better in aggressive decks to get more on the board faster. You're not necessarily filling your board, and like you said, you're actually giving them things on their board to tap
Yeah,
down.
yeah.
And I would say remove Fledgling Djinn, which you've already been thinking about. If you want
Yeah,
another creature, I would consider maybe Bone Shredder because it also will functions as removal a lot of the time.
yeah.
It's not a great creature, but it is removal. Last comment is I like Wall of Souls. So if you're going to go more prison, I would up the propaganda. I would put in Winter Orb instead of Meekstone and Tanglewire. Just a thought. Those are some
Okay.
thoughts. Aggro thoughts. If you wanted to go more aggro, I still think you see mono black aggro lists, but you don't see sleeper agent on all many of them, or if any. I like sleeper agent in even a mono black aggro list. It functions almost like a sulfuric vortex does it in burn, where it just does 2 damage every turn, 2 damage every turn. And sleeper agent's damaging them, not you, unless they attack you with it. Of course, it deals more than 2, but if you have propaganda and stuff, you're probably, hopefully, preventing them from attacking. If you have propaganda and paralyzed, they can't attack with it. So I like that. Sleeper agent is nice. Remove the prison elements, of course. Maybe just keep blue for curiosity, and maybe like a Shadow Mage Infiltrator or something. If you want to get additional shadow creatures for damage and card draw, Shadow Mage Infiltrator.
I
So
really like the Confound. I kind of want to keep
the
running
confound.
Confound.
Okay, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm confounded.
Well, also just a regular counter spell, like Mana Leak. It's nice to have like
Yeah,
the ability
it
to
is.
counter an enchantment,
It
uh,
is.
whatever, something I can't get rid
Get
of.
rid of the portent.
Yeah,
If you wanted to go more aggro, get rid of the portent. I would maybe even get rid of the unearth.
yeah.
I would put in a couple more typical black aggro creatures. You could keep the confound in the mana leak. The mana leak's actually good if you go more winter orb too. If you keep winter orb.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I found a deck on TC Decks. It was played in one of my favorite tournaments. Actually, it's the Poop Throne tournament, the Poop Throne Premodern Rogue tournament. This was the third one that they held. It was all the way back in 2003. It was a Rogue tournament. Again, it's the Poop Throne Premodern Rogue tournament, where somebody brought a Rogue Sleeper Agent deck to the tournament and actually won the
Oh,
tournament. It is a mono black aggro deck. 4 leans into the shadow. 4 Dalthy Cutthroat. 1 colorless, 1 black, 1/1 shadow. You can pay 1 colorless and 1 black, tap it to destroy target creature with shadow. That doesn't come in handy much often, but it's pretty much just a 1/1 shadow.
I
4
think that
Dalthy
ability is good. One of the biggest things I'm gonna want to use it against is like a Soltari Priest or whatever, which has protection from black.
Sultari
Or
Monk. But yeah,
monk. Yeah, monk.
Monk has pro black. Yeah, Priest has pro
Priest
red.
has red. Yeah.
Yeah. 4 Dalthy Horror.
Uh-huh.
2/1 shadow. Can't be blocked by right creatures. 4 Skulking Ghosts, which is a Mirage classic. 2/1 flyer. 1 colorless, 1 black. If it's a target of a spell or effect, you bury it. But who cares? Most of the
Yeah,
time, a creature that's 2/1 is targeted by anything, it's going to die anyways.
it's gonna die anyways.
Most of the time. Then 4 Sleeper Agents, 3 Wall of Souls, 1 Douthty Marauder, which is a 3/1 shadow creature. 1 Ravenous Scourge, which is a 1/1 imp, flying. Whenever it attacks, it gets +2/+0 until end of turn.
Huh.
Then it runs a Karavek Spite, Choking Sands for land destruction, the Duress and Cabal Therapy for hand disruption. Enchantments: 1 EP, Engineer Plague, main board, 1 Paralyze, and 1 Lurking Evil. That's very spicy. Probably in here because it's a rogue tournament. 3 black, enchantment, pay half your life, rounded up. It becomes a 4/4 creature with flying that counts as a horror. And then 1 Curse Scroll. So this is just an example I found of a black aggro deck that runs Sleeper Agent. I think Sleeper Agent fits nicely into the black aggro deck type. You could take out your
Yeah, that's
artifacts,
kind of cool.
put in some more black shadow creatures. You could even keep the Confound and the Mana Leak. Just a
Yeah.
splash of blue for the
Well,
counters.
yeah, I mean, I probably wouldn't, but like
You could.
I
You
sort of
could.
lost track that we were talking about in the context of aggro deck there when I said that. So,
Yeah.
but I like the Karavek Spite. That's cool.
Definitely if you went in the more prison element, I might be able to keep some of the
Yeah.
counters. Counter magic. Just some thoughts. Go lean more heavily into the prison or lean more heavily into the aggro. I kind of think this deck is more fun as a prison deck.
Uh-huh.
That's just my bias. That's how I'm thinking about this deck. So I would keep it blue black. I would go more prison.
If I just want to go more aggro, like I feel like I don't really need to do the sleeper agent thing or the wall of souls thing. I can
You
just
don't
be
need
playing
to. You don't
other
need to.
cards like that for a shadow aggro deck.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, I'm kind of in agreement, I think, control style. But maybe not. Maybe I'll try it both ways. Maybe I'll flip it around at some point.
Both of the decks are pretty cheap to build too.
Yeah,
More propaganda. Get some winter warps. Do you have winter warps already?
I don't.
Okay. Yeah, frick.
They shouldn't be too expensive though, right? What's like a revised winter orb?
Well, I don't think so. I bought a playset of revised winter orbs. I wonder what like the cheapest reprints are of winter orb. Everything might be like $10.
Right, you revise about $10.
Yeah. How much are the gold borders? Pro Tour collector set, $14.
They're even more.
Damn it. Sons of bitches. How much is the Fallout? Do you like Fallout, Alex?
It's okay.
Ah, these are more than the revised ones. They're like
I like
13
some of
bucks.
them.
Nothing's really cheap. I don't see like a 50-cent winter orb, and that's disappointing to me. Why not?
Yeah,
They don't print it that often.
guess not. I like the
Yeah.
Fallout Sphere of Resistance. That one's kind of cool.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't print winter orb that often. There's been the Fallout one, which came out recently in the Secret Lair. These are Magic Online promos. Eternal Masters. These were printed in 2016.
Yeah,
Did
none of
they?
the printings of it are
Jesus.
cheap. They're all $10 or above.
Did they not print Winter Orb for like a decade?
I
Like
guess.
fifth edition, and they didn't print it for a decade?
I guess.
These kids these days, they're always screaming when the people blow up their lands or when they can't untap their lands. It's like, I don't know. This is what I hear. I don't play Commander, but this is what I hear from people that Commander players get Nothing upsets them more than you blowing up their lands or preventing them from untapping their lands.
It's because they have
That's a
to cast those mana-hungry commanders over and over again.
maybe. That's a key part of Magic. I don't love it either,
Yeah.
unless I'm playing the deck that's blowing up people's lands, and
But you don't like getting
then it's fun.
stasis locked or winter orb. You don't like, lots of stuff that's not fun.
But you have to deal with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want it to go away from the game. Not printing Winter Orb for 10 years? Bah. I say bah. Okay. Okay, Alex. There's your brews. Clerics. Get rid of the doubtless one. Beast. Put in Blastoderm. I love natural order. Sleeper Agent. I want more prison. Put in the Winter Orbs. Make the commander players angry. That's my
Yeah.
thought.
Yeah, I think those are good feedbacks.
Okay.
I had fun playing all of them. Yeah, all pretty fun to play in their own way. Uh, Beasts is like fun and straightforward, and Clerics is kind of like fun because all kinds of different stuff can happen.
All
And
kinds of different stuff can happen. I will say, in the Clerics deck, like Cabal Archon and Rattling Reanimator are so good.
yeah, they are. They're
They're so
nice.
good.
Yeah.
That's
I
when
just
I
want to
get
have
in
them
trouble.
out all the time. I want to have like six of each of those in my deck.
Yeah, I get in trouble when Rattling Reanimator hits the board, and then also I played Burn against you with the Clerics deck. I don't remember who won more games, but
Uh-huh.
I do remember that like Cabal Archon just made a lot more difficult with Burn, just because of the life gain.
Yeah. So yeah, it's
Both
fun.
good
And
cards.
Sleeper Agent's fun too, in just because it's like a wacky gimmick deck.
That's probably my
It's just
favorite of
fun
the
to like
three.
make them take damage and
That's my favorite of the three. Yeah.
really. Yeah.
Yeah. And when I play
It's
against
different.
it, I'm like, I really don't want to lose to this stupid fucking sleeper agent. I don't want to
That's
lose
the
to.
idea,
Yeah.
basically. Yeah.
That's upsetting to me. You killing me with a sleeper agent is like playing Armageddon and a Winter Orb against a commander player in a commander game. I know Mengu on Mengu's workshop and on his YouTube channel. He played a sleeper agent deck one day. Did we ever look at that? I think we
I
might have
saw
talked
one
about it.
floating around a while ago. It was like several months back. I think you might have sent me the deck list because you
Yeah,
were like, "Look, someone else has a deck like this," and I was like,
but I don't think I watched his video yet. I shall watch it.
"Yeah,
It's a good looking card too. I
yeah,
like
it's a
the
pretty
art.
cool looking card." Yeah.
It's not expensive yet.
Yeah.
Somebody might buy it out just because.
It's annoying
Okay.
because it's a rare, but it's like, yeah, I mean, who's using this card other than someone trying to make a weirdo deck?
Yeah.
So,
Okay, Alex. Okay. That's the end of segment one where we talk about our recent play testing and our brews and whatnot. That brings us to segment two, which is the final segment of today's episode. This is the Old Mage Poetry Corner, where Alex is going to read poetry to two of our most recent channel members. Two of our channel members. Alex has poetry for you.
I do. I have two poems.
Who are the poets, Alex, that wrote the poetry that we're going to read to our two newest channel
My
members
my
today?
first poem is called Anthracite Country by Jay Perini.
Jay
Anthracite,
Perini.
yeah.
Jay Perini. Okay.
Anthracite is the super hard black dense coal, which is considered the best coal
Oh,
and produces the most energy.
is it? Is this what Donald Trump calls clean coal? The cleanest
I
coal?
wouldn't call it clean.
No, there's no such thing. Are you
No
telling me?
such
What are you?
thing.
I
But
don't know.
it's the good stuff when it comes to coal.
It's not cleaner than wind. Listen, how many birds did anthracite ever kill? I'll tell you what. Don't get me started on windmills. They kill all the birds. I've seen. Have you ever driven past a
I,
windmill farm?
I'm sure coal smog in like London is like, or like, you know, various English cities in the coal mining uh, industrial zone have. I said London, but that's wrong probably. But
I don't
you
know
know
what
what I
you're talking
mean.
about. I'll stop. I interrupted saying stupid things. I'm ruining the poetry corner, Alex. Going on and on about windmills and killing the birds. You know why he's so upset about windmills? This is what I heard. I don't know if it's true, but it's so stupid that it probably is true. when he was first building his golf course, like in Scotland somewhere. He visited it in like the Scottish government. I think it was in Scotland. They built windmills like near his golf course that obscured the view of the ocean.
Uh,
And for like the last 20 to 30 years, he's been like ranting against windmills and trying to get people to stop building windmills.
mm, that sounds right.
That sounds like it's probably true, right?
Yeah.
Okay, get back to your poem about clean coal, the cleanest coal.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I believe our new subscriber is named Stone correct?
Stonerainguy.
Yeah. So I thought maybe we'd all enjoy a nice poem about burning coal fire together.
The man loves land destruction. He won't get upset if you play Armageddon in a commander game.
I told you what anthracite is.
Yes.
Culms are coal waste bits. So they're piled up in coal refuse heaps. Okay.
What are these? Calms?
Culm, Culm.
Culms. Colms. That's a
Yeah,
hard word to pronounce.
it
Okay.
is. It is. Ooh, two new words, or maybe just one new word for some people out there today. Okay. Anthracite country. The culm dump burns all night, unnaturally blue and well below heaven. It smolders like moments almost forgotten. The time when you said that you meant too plainly and ruined your chance of love. Refusing to dwindle, fed from within like men rejected for nothing specific. It lingers at the edge of town, unwatched by anyone living near. The smell now passes for nature. It would be missed. Wound of the earth, awful of an age, when pitched-faced men dug marrow from the spine of a speechless land. It resists all healing. Its luminous hump cries comfortable pain.
I should have pulled this up right away, Alex. I should have pulled this up as soon as you started reading. Anthracite Country. I will say that was a beautiful poetry, Alex. It was a beautiful
Thank you.
reading.
Thank you. I thought it was
The
a nice
cal
poem.
the calm dump is if I was doing a public reading of this, I would have fucked that up right away in a very embarrassing way. In a very embarrassing way. That's a ballsy way to start, so to speak, the poem. Okay. Okay, Alex. You're taking us highbrow with the poetry corner. I'm taking us lowbrow.
It's
Poem
okay.
number one. Poem
We
number
need,
one.
you know,
Poem number two we have for another channel member today. I believe is called Journey's End, correct?
yes, after some land destruction, thought we'd soften the tone here. End the podcast with a Tolkien poem. Journey's End. In western lands beneath the sun, the flowers may rise in spring. The trees may bud, the waters run, the merry finches sing. Or there, or there may be 'tis cloudless night, and swaying branches bear the elven stars as jewels white amid their branching hair. Though here at journey's end I lie, in darkness buried deep, beyond all towers strong and high, beyond all mountains steep, above all shadows rides the sun, and stars forever dwell. I will not say the day is done, nor bid the stars farewell.
There's a beautiful poem from J.R.R. Tolkien and a beautiful reading from Old Mage Alex.
Kind of.
I will not bid the stars farewell, but I will bid farewell to all of you loyal listeners who made it all the way to the end of episode 120, who listened to Alex and I ramble about our recent playtesting, our recent brews. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for staying to the end. Even if you didn't listen to the whole thing, if you just scanned forward to the Old Mage Poetry Quarter, because that's what you're here for now. You're not here for Magic the Gathering talk. You're here for poetry readings from Old Mage Alex. We still thank you for listening to this part of the show. Is there anything you would like to say to the listeners before we head out, Alex? I think we're going to get out. This is the end of the episode. I got to make
Oh,
it to the grocery store. Aldi's already closed. I was going to buy some salmon But I'm not going to make it to Aldi's today to buy salmon. It's all my fault because I got started late because I was rambling about, I don't even know what I was talking about. I was keeping you on the Zoom call for like an hour before I started the episode, just saying nothing.
That's usually what happens.
And then sometimes Aldi's closes at like 7, and then I go to Giant Eagle if I don't make it to Aldi's. Giant Eagle's closed already too, and now Kroger's about to close in 46 minutes. I got nothing to bring to lunch tomorrow at work. You know what happens if I don't have lunch at work? My blood sugar gets low. I tip over in the middle of the day. Anyways, what were we going to say to
You don't
listen?
want to skip lunch. I was just gonna welcome spring for everyone. I hope you're all
Oh,
enjoying the
yes.
beginning of spring here. Uh, I know in Ohio we're tired of all of it, the winter.
Mother Nature tricked me last week.
Yeah, yeah.
She did a flipperoo. I thought it was going to be spring. I was like, it's definitely going to be spring. And then out of the blue, the winds came.
Hmm.
The winds came from the north, Alex. They blew trees over, and I lost power for 24 hours.
It's the St. Patrick's Day switcheroo. We always get it here.
And then all of a sudden it snowed. And everybody was at work. We got big windows at work. We were in the lab, and we were looking out, and I go, it's snowing. What the fuck? And then everybody else turned around. They go, what the fuck? And everybody was pissed for the rest of the day. And then, wouldn't you know it, like the very next day, it started to warm up, and now it's 155 degrees Fahrenheit outside today. Alex, I read in the Columbus Dispatch that we broke a record. This is the
Ah,
hottest March 22nd on record. We don't know what happened in the pre-modern era. That was before historical records were kept. But in the modern area where we're keeping historical records, it's the hottest March ever in Columbus, Ohio. It's 155 degrees Fahrenheit. What were you saying?
I don't know.
Okay. Okay. That'll be it. That's it for the episode. Talk to you later.
Bye.
I ain't gonna do this anymore. That's all from me. Goodbye.